Close your eyes and I'll kiss you. Tomorrow I'll miss you. Remember, I'll always miss you. And then while I'm away, I'll ride home every day, and I'll send all my loving to you. I'll pretend that I'm kissing the lips I am missing, and hope that my dreams will come true. And then while I'm away, I'll ride home every day, and I'll send all my loving to you.
That was the sound of All My Lovin', performed live by the Beatles on February the 9th, 1964, and broadcast coast to coast to an audience of over 73 million Americans. Capitol Records had promised that 1964 would be the year of the Beatles. All My Lovin' was the trumpet call which heralded the arrival of Beatlemania in the States. This was the beginning of the American invasion.
Close your eyes and I'll kiss you. Tomorrow I'll miss you. Remember, I'll always be true. And then while I'm away, I'll ride home every day, and I'll send all my loving to you.
All My Lovin' may have been one of the first Beatles songs the huge American audience had ever heard, but it certainly wouldn't be the last. The Beatles would return 4 times to the Ed Sullivan Show, and by the time of the final appearance in 1965, the Beatles would be a fully fledged phenomenon. This is the story of how the Beatles broke America.
I will say to you, she loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. She loves you, yeah, 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 yeah. You think you've lost your love? Well, I saw her yesterday. It's you she's thinking of, and she told me what to say. She said she loves you, and you know that can't be bad. Yes, she loves you, and you know you should be glad.
By 1964, the Beatles were already the subject of hysteria. But success had not come overnight, and the Beatles had undergone a long and tortuous apprenticeship in their home country. The heady heights achieved by the Beatles in 1964 was a long way from the grueling round of gigs in Hamburg's infamous red light district. This was where the Beatles served their apprenticeship, playing up to 5 sets a night to audiences who were often less than enthusiastic. It was very hard work. Hours were long, and the remorseless round of performing for low wages inevitably took its toll. As well as the obvious temptations of Hamburg's good time girls, there were the more invidious dangers of a lifestyle which encouraged and even relied upon the use of drugs. Long before their famous experiments with LSD and cannabis, the Beatles were already dabbling in amphetamines as they struggled to keep up and stay awake in the 24-hour world of post-war Germany.
Should be glad. She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. With a love like that, you know you should be glad. With a love like that, you know you should be glad. With a love like that, you know you should be glad.
There was, of course, one great advantage from the Hamburg apprenticeship. As the old saying goes, anything that doesn't kill you makes you stronger. An extended period of living together in a foreign country could either make or break the band. It was an extended honeymoon, which could point to either triumph or disaster. Fortunately for the Beatles, Hamburg helped to cement the relationships within the group, which would stand them in good stead for the turbulent decade which lay ahead.
They did 4 or 5 nightly spots of 45 minutes with a gap in between where there was a stripper, and they did this every night for 6-7 nights a week. This made them into an unbelievably tight band. They were a very good band.
They played, maybe 1,300 live shows on stage, and they got to be very, very, very good performers. They all had their own mannerisms. They all moved around, Paul would kind of dance around with his bass, and John stood spread-legged and kind of just bopped, a little bit. And George had his little shuffle, and Ringo was always tussling his hair. And with all this together, and their songs, the music, it created a mania, which of course we know as Beatlemania. And they were excellent stage performers, and especially since all this screaming was going on.
If the Beatles were a great live band, they probably didn't know it, because basically every audience they played to was making more noise than they were. You've got to remember, back in those days, guitar amplifiers were 30 watt. You didn't really have the amplification systems that you have now. You didn't even have the amplifications you would have at the end of the 60s. So really, when it came to playing live, the Beatles were always onto a loser.
Lennon's often said that all of the best shows they did were back in their very early days, when they would be up on stage and having to play for like 10 hours in Hamburg and places like this. So I think we might have not have seen the Beatles at their best maybe when they were playing these live shows. But again, the pressure was immense. They had to come out. These were package tour shows as well. So you'd go there at 8 o'clock and you'd see 4 or 5 different bands leading to the Beatles, and they would come out and they would play their 5 or 6 or maybe 10 songs that were really popular at the time, and then off they'd go again, kind of thing. But that was standard across the board. No one was putting on rock shows where one performer was doing 2 hours of music at the time.
It was a variety show, literally. I mean, I remember my father going on tour with them, and it was the strangest bill. It was like the Tremolos, the Beatles, 2 or 3 comedians, a little girl singing, Helen Shapiro, who the Beatles had written a song for but it was turned down. They knew how to not just play their own songs but play other people's songs. So they were like a very, very efficient little sort of military unit.
Much of the material performed by the Beatles was composed by other writers, and they relied upon the rock and roll standards to give them enough material. But of course the Beatles were never destined to rely for too long upon songs from other writers. The fledgling partnership of Lennon and McCartney was nurtured and nourished by their time together in Germany. It was to bear fruit in the form of later songs such as the classic I Saw Her Standing There.
Well, she was just 17, you know what I mean, and the way she looked was way beyond compare. How could I dance with another? Oh, since I saw her standing there. Hey. Well, she looked at me, and I could see that before too long I'd fall in love with her. She wouldn't dance with another. Oh, since I saw her standing there. Well, my heart went boom when I crossed that room, and I held her hand in mine.
The other huge advantage from the Hamburg days lay in the wealth of stage experience which the band gained in the clubs and pubs. By 1964, the Beatles were a highly seasoned outfit who had paid their dues and honed their routines in the live arena. This was no manufactured outfit shaped to a plan by calculating management. When the time came and the Beatles stepped before the US cameras, they were armed with confidence and ability. The Beatles were ready.
Last night I said these words to my girl.
First sight, the Nems Enterprises, Brown Science Management Company, did appear to be, I can't say amateur because everyone was working very hard there, but lacking a little in organisation. But as I say, everyone was very enthusiastic, which made up for it really. And I don't believe that any great errors were made in promotion, contractual relationships and so on. No, it worked very well. It worked very well. Although, as I say, there was no great definition of people's roles there. Brian invited me to become, as he termed it, Chief Administrative Executive, a title which I never used at all. But subsequently, I made me director of the company.
'Cause I don't wanna thank the man, but I know there's always waiting on.
Brian was a very hands-on manager. He was their greatest fan. He had their interests at heart in every conceivable respect.
Very, very proper Englishman, kind of Englishman I'd see in English movies. Spoke the language beautifully, dressed beautifully, and a gentleman. We never had a contract. Each time our contracts were done over the phone. I bought them without having seen them. And he told me I was the first American to call him. And I offered him something that he couldn't resist. Carnegie Hall. He says, I've heard about Carnegie. The Beatles were not known in America at that time. Not even their records were played. But I'd been reading about them.
Their success in the States wasn't immediate. I mean, their singles had been released in the States before to very little impact. I mean, roughly sort of impact of, a feather on concrete, I suppose. But I Want to Hold Your Hand somehow caught the mood of the hour, caught the lightning.
I said, I could bring them here. They were coming stars not just in Liverpool, but going across the country and then doing Germany. And going on to France later on. I bought them because the language was the same, and kids of England, Germany, France were responding to their music. But when I saw them, that very first time, when I presented them at Carnegie Hall, and I met them before they went on, at their hotel, at the Plaza Hotel, looking out the window of the Plaza Hotel and seeing hundreds of kids waving to them from downstairs below the Plaza Hotel and singing their songs.
In some ways, the Beatles had already cracked America before they even arrived there, because they'd already got to #1 with I Want to Hold Your Hand. And then there was the airport arrival, where there was another big PR campaign, and I think Capitol Records paid lots of fans to go and sort of jump up and down.
And for a lot of people, they equate the early Beatles with I Want to Hold Your Hand, especially in North America. That song really defines an era.
It was actually quite a lot slower. It was almost like a ballad when they wrote it, and George Martin lifted the tempo. And that's what made it click straight away.
It's just a very cool, simple subject matter, which was very well done in the great Beatles way, with great melodies, great middle eights, just very well put together.
John Lennon plays what would be considered almost as prehistoric heavy metal, kind of a rhythm guitar track, very aggressive.
It's got a really strong melody against the chords, and that's why I think a song like that stands the test of time, because of the power of the melody.
It may have been a simple song, but the way it was performed and the combination of the two, plus of course the visuals, remember that television was beginning to come into its own then, that really the Beatles made each and every song of theirs their own.
The vocals explode into almost an orgasmic kind of a finale.
I want to hold your... That's quite an ecstatic leap. They may not have been thinking of the word hand.
What I Want to Hold Your Hand has is energy and vitality and self-confidence, and whoop, we're taking on the world and we're going to beat everybody. Doesn't matter what the words say, and lots of people have gone back since and said, oh, the Stones wanted to take you to bed, the Beatles just wanted to hold your hand. And okay, that's true on one level, but let's just listen to the actual sort of impact of the song. The words are meaningless. What the song is saying is, we're going to take on the world, we're going to win.
I think I Want to Hold Your Hand is iconic. That is the Beatles number that became the biggest in America. This is what started them in America, you know. And this is the record that they were first told when they were in Paris, you've just come #1 in the American charts. And the whole of America fell in love with them, you know, and it was such an upbeat, happy song. Just a couple of months after President Kennedy had been assassinated and America had been in mourning, and suddenly they had something to smile about with the Beatles and this particular number. And I think it is iconic, will always be remembered, and I think with Americans, they'll always think of that particular number.
Ed Sullivan. Ed Sullivan had been traveling across Europe to get to Heathrow Airport and take a plane back to his native New York. At the airport, when he got to Heathrow, saw a bunch of kids holding up signs. Now the Beatles were not known here. And he saw posters. We love John, we love Ringo, we love Paul, we love George. Welcome home, Ed Sullivan. Asked an airport attendant, who are these Beatles? Ed Sullivan used to present a lot of animal acts. You're too young to remember that, I think. He asked an airport attendant, is this an animal act? And the man said, no, this is England's most popular singing group. He had someone in his office check out, who are these Beatles? And he learned that a New York promoter with my name was presenting them. The secretary called me and said, Mr. Sullivan asked me to call you and told me that he found out that you're bringing the Beatles over. Is that correct, Mr. Burns? I said, yes. What do you think of them? I said, they're a phenomenon. The rest was history. They came here. They did the Sullivan Show. Sullivan bought them 3 days prior to my date. Historically, his show was on a Sunday. Mine happened to be on a Wednesday, February 12th. He put them on Sunday, February 9th.
After 3 years as unknowns and 2 years as pop idols, the Beatles were a seasoned unit. The first US performances were confident, and the material was incredibly strong. With the backing of EMI Records, the Beatles had achieved huge success in Britain and Europe, which had propelled the band to unheard-of heights of fame. By 1964, the group were already established as both an albums and a singles chart act. In America, the release of Beatles material had been something of a mess. Capitol Records, EMI's subsidiary in America, had declined to release the first 3 singles. Love Me Do was not released at all as a single. Please Please Me and From Me to You were released on a small Chicago independent label, VJ, while She Loves You turned up on Swan Records. None of the early Beatles albums, which had proved so successful elsewhere, had even been released by Capitol in America, and VJ were too small to make much headway with its own release, entitled Introducing the Beatles. Despite the fact that the group had enjoyed its first UK hit in 1962, as late as January 1964, US audiences were still unaware of the existence of great Beatles songs such as the brilliant This Boy.
You back again. That boy isn't good for you, though he may want you to. This boy wants you back again.
The mismanagement of the band's affairs in the US meant that even by December 1963, the average American had yet to hear even the great songs which had launched the Beatles' recording career in 1962. America wouldn't catch up on Beatlemania until Capitol Records finally relented and hastily released I Wanna Hold Your Hand in the last few days of 1963.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you something I think you'll understand. When I say that something, I wanna hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand. Oh please, say to me, you let me be your man. And please, say to me, you let me hold your hand.
last, the Beatles had the backing of a US label with some muscle, and sure enough, by mid-January 1964, the single had climbed to #1. The timing could not have been better. The Fab Four were at last ready to cross the Atlantic. They finally arrived in the US on February the 7th, 1964.
Got that something I think you'll understand when I say that something. I wanna hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand. I wanna hold your
It is ironic, but the lack of record company activity in America was eventually to work in the group's favour. The fact that virtually nothing had been properly released gave Capitol the opportunity to review and reassess the Beatles' back catalogue. Capitol decided to take no chances and hit the American public with the dynamic calling card which featured the best unreleased tracks. The result was one of the most amazing albums to be released and was entitled Meet the Beatles. This brilliant combination of classic Beatles material was ripe for promotion. It was fortunate for the group that the power of television was already exerting its grip on the US population. Here was the ultimate shortcut to the homes of every American family. The Ed Sullivan Variety Show, broadcast live every Sunday evening, was already a national institution and provided the perfect vehicle to reach a mass audience. Ed's show was the real target for the Beatles' first visit to the States.
so please.
The Ed Sullivan Show was the sort of North American equivalent of Sunday night at the London Palladium, in that it was transmitted coast to coast and everybody saw it. And it had roughly the same effect on the American public as the Beatles' appearance at, on Sunday night at the London Palladium had a few months earlier, in that everybody was glued to the TV. And a significant statistic here is that while the Beatles were on, not a single hubcap was stolen in the whole of New York.
The Ed Sullivan Shows was extremely important.
It was a big deal.
They saw how an American TV show worked. The whole of America saw the Beatles.
So as a springboard for America, it was huge.
By just having one or two performances for him, they could basically cover the whole of America coast to coast.
You hear stats like the juvenile delinquent crime rate dropped that night because everyone was at home watching it on television. Just like everyone who was alive in that era could tell you where they were when they heard Kennedy died, most people will tell you that they saw the Beatles that night in February.
To appear on the Ed Sullivan Show was like the music business seal of approval.
When you were on Ed Sullivan, you were a star, and I think to us young kids at the time, it solidified the fact that these guys are mega stars and they're here to stay.
I think it was very sort of careful, clever management that got the Beatles to where they are, but the Ed Sullivan shows were crucial in their career development.
It was crucial, really. I don't know if you could say they were being marketed. I think they were just being unveiled, really. I prefer that this phenomenon of the Beatles. The Americans just loved the group.
But you can't, it's impossible to overstate the importance of the Ed Sullivan shows, because I think it was 73 million people watched them. Something like 1 in 3 of the American population watched the Beatles, and that would have been an awful lot of kids, obviously, but also parents who were actually seeing this group for the first time.
There are two strands here. I think the American image of English people at that time was the bowler hats and the umbrella type of guy, So suddenly these guys come along here, and we're clipped, and they also had the idea that people had clipped English, very well-spoken people, probably like Brian Epstein, and these 4 guys come off a plane, or whatever, with their mop-top heads, which these days doesn't seem outrageous, as it doesn't seem that long, but it was then, with their different accent, with the Liverpool accent. They really encountered that before, and cracking jokes, you know, sort of stuff, doing one-off comments. So I think the Americans were just blown over by it and fascinated by it.
The Ed Sullivan Shows introduced the Beatles to an awful lot of people who had no idea what was #1 in the pop charts. And it also marked the point where they grew beyond being a teenage band and actually became a sort of worldwide, universal, all-age band.
Because they had been used, really, apart from, I mean, they had people like Bill Haley, Rock Around the Clock, but he was then a guy of 30, which was quite old for teenagers, and he had his Kiss Curl, and there was Elvis, but Elvis had gone in the army, and he was a fairly clean-cut sort of guy, wasn't he? But then these guys come along, the Beatles.
One of the great myths about 60s pop is that nothing was happening in America and the Beatles came along and revolutionised everything. It's just not true. The two biggest groups in America in 63, 64 were the Beach Boys and the Four Seasons, and they were pushing each other all the time to do more and more innovative songs and innovative records. Meanwhile, you've got Phil Spector making some of the greatest records of all time. And there were some wonderful country things coming out of Nashville. Soul music was kicking off. You've got Sam Cooke, Otis Redding just starting out, Ray Charles in his prime. It was anything but a desert. But what the Beatles did was bring an entirely new sort of atmosphere of freshness and Englishness, which hadn't been seen on the American pop scene before.
The cracking of America was achieved with contributions from a number of different sources. And, I mean, on the part of Capitol Records, there was also undoubtedly unusual promotional expenditure in their way. They were prepared to sort of spend money. They produced all kinds of gimmicky things like Beatles wigs. They had their executives going around the place in Beatles wigs and waving flags and posters and so forth. And they certainly provided posters and banners for the kids to wave at the airport at New York when the Beatles first arrived in February '64. Yeah, they did. So it's a concentrated effort from all aspects, but it was all directed at different parts of the market, and that's what was crucial. Normally, a rock and roll campaign would have concentrated purely on the teeny bop magazines, probably. We concentrated on the widest possible range, from the most sophisticated magazines and newspapers across the board down to the teeny bop fanzines.
As history testifies, the Beatles grabbed their opportunity with both hands. The very first Ed Sullivan Show, broadcast in February 1964, was a clear home run, and America took the group to its heart and opened the door for the British invasion which followed. VJ and Swan Records were quick to capitalize on the mania for the Beatles and soon re-released their own Beatles material. By April 1964, Beatles records occupied all 5 top places in the Billboard charts, an amazing feat which is never likely to be equaled. 1964 proved to be their year, and after the Beatles, popular music would never be the same again. A new standard had been set.
Close your eyes and I'll kiss you. Tomorrow I'll miss you. Remember, I'll always be true. And then while I'm away, I'll ride home every day, and I'll send all my loving to you. I'll pretend that I'm kissing the lips I am missing, and hope that my dreams will come true. And then while I'm away, I'll ride home every day, and I'll send all my loving to you. All my loving I will send you. All my loving, darling, I'll be true. the hill, but I never heard them ringing. No, I never heard them at all, till there was you. There were birds in the sky, but I never saw them winging. No, I never saw them at all, till there was you. And there was music, wonderful roses, they tell me, in sweet, fragrant meadows of dawn and dew. There was love all around, but I never heard it singing. No, I never heard it at all, till there was you. Tell me, in sweet, fragrant meadows of dawn and dew, there was love all around, but I never heard it singing. No, I never heard it at all, till there was you. When I saw her yesterday, it's you she's thinking of, and she told me what to say. She said she loves you, and you know that can't be bad. Yes, she loves you, and you know you should be glad. She said you heard her song, she almost lost her mind. Now she said she knows you're not the hurting kind. She said she loves you, and you know that can't be bad. Yes, she loves you, and you know you should be glad. Whoa. She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. With a love like that, you know you should be glad. It's up to you. I think it's only fair. Pride can hurt you too. Apologize to her because she loves you. You know that can't be bad. Yes, she loves you, and you know you should be glad. Yeah, yeah, she loves you. Well, she was just 17, you know what I mean, and the way she looked was way beyond compare. How could I dance with another? Oh, as I saw her standing there. Hey. Well, she looked at me, and I could see that before too long I'd fall in love with her. that something. I wanna hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand. Oh, please say to me, you let me be your man. And please say to me, you let me hold your hand. I think you'll understand when I say that something. I wanna hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand. And when I touch you, I feel happy inside. It's such a feeling that my love I can't hide. I can't hide. Yeah, you got that something. I think you'll understand when I say that something. I wanna hold your hand. 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 She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. She loves you, yeah, 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 yeah. Think you've lost your love. Well, I saw her yesterday, yeah. It's who she's thinking of. And she told me what to say, yeah. She said she loves you, and you know that can't be bad. Yes, she loves you, and you know you should be glad. She said you hurt her so, she almost lost her mind. Now she said she knows you're not the hurting kind. She said she loves you, and you know that can't be bad. Yes, she loves you, and you know you should be glad. She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. With a love like that, you know you should be glad. You know it's up to you. I think it's only fair if I can hurt you too. Apologize to her because she loves you, and you know that can't be bad. Yes, she loves you, and you know you should be glad. She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. With a love like that, you know you should be glad. With a love like that, you know you should be glad. With a love like that, you know you should be glad. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. That's for back again. This boy, this boy, this boy.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody, and good evening. How are you? All right. The song we just done was called This Boy, and it was off the album we made for Capital. LP, that's LP in English. It's the same thing. I can't speak it. It was off the LP. Oh, all right. It was off the LP we made for Capital Records album, you see. Anyway, of course you can. Right, we'd like to sing another one off the same LP. This one's called All My Loving. Close your eyes and I'll kiss you. Tomorrow I'll miss you. Remember, I'll always be true. And then while I'm away, I'll ride home every day, and I'll send all my loving to you. I'll pretend that I'm kissing the lips I am missing, and hope that my dreams will come true. And then while I'm away, I'll ride home every day, and I'll send all my loving to you. All my loving I will send to you. All my loving, darling, I'll be true. Close your eyes and I'll kiss you. Tomorrow I'll miss you. Remember, I'll always be true. And then while I'm away, I'll ride home every day, and I'll send all my loving to you. All my loving I will send to you. All my loving, darling, all the true. All my loving, all my loving, ooh, all my loving, I will send to you. What I mean, in the way she looked, was way beyond compare. I'll never dance with another. Oh, since I saw her standing there. Well, she looked at me, and I could see that before too long I'd fall in love with her. She wouldn't dance with another. Oh, since I saw her standing there. Well, my heart went boom when I crossed that room, and I held her hand in my I'll Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. 1, 2, 3. Da 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 da. If there's anything that you want, if there's anything I can do, just call on me and I'll send it along with love from me to you. I got everything that you want, like a heart that's so true. Just call on me and I'll send it along with love from me to you. I got arms that long to hold you and keep you by my side. I've got lips that long to kiss you and keep you satisfied. If there's anything that you want, if there's anything I can do, just call on me and I'll send it along with love from me to you. From me to you, just call on me and I'll send it along with love from me to you. I got arms that long to hold you and keep you by my side. I got lips that long to kiss you and keep you satisfied. If there's anything that you want, if there's anything I can do, just call on me and I'll send it along with love from me to you. To you, to you, to you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody. Well, that was from me to you. And we'd like to finish off this bit with a song which has always been a great favourite of ours. This is one that was recorded by our favourite American group, Sophie Tucker. Oh yeah, I'll tell you something I think you'll understand when I say that something. I wanna hold your hand, I wanna hold your hand, I wanna hold your hand. Oh please, say to me, you let me be your man. And please, say to me, you let me hold your hand. You let me hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand. And when I touch you, I feel happy inside. It's such a feeling that my love I can hide, I can hide, I can hide. Yeah, you got that something I think you understand. When I feel that something, I wanna hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand. And when I touch you, I feel happy inside. It's such a feeling that my love I can hide, I can hide, I can hide. Yeah, you got that something I think you understand.